So the Pats, they faced a young, talented QBs this year, a bunch of them. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. Now it's Kyler Murray. But Murray is a bit banged up right now with that right throwing shoulder. Robert, how is this impacting the team moving forward?
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, his running ability has been such a huge part of what they've done offensively. I'll be curious if they decide to kind of tamp that down a little bit to keep him out of harm's way. I mean, you watch teams like the Cardinals play against teams like the Patriots who run a lot of man coverage, and it's easy to kind of get yards on the ground with your legs. If he can't do that, I think it drastically impacts what the Cardinals are going to be able to do on offense.
Matt, you're a defense guy. What would you hate the most about going up against a QB like Kyler?
It's a little bit comparable to the Lamar Jackson thing from a couple of weeks ago. There's not much you can do. You can run as fast as you can. Nothing's really going to matter. But one of the things that I think is sort of a compelling angle to this coming week is that we saw one approach against Lamar a couple of weeks ago, as I mentioned. We saw a different approach last week with Deshaun. And as you mentioned, if Kyler's a little banged up, the Patriots didn't go after Deshaun Watson, and they got torched, So they were doing this sort of pseudo four-man rush where you send three, the fourth is a late, and there's a late to the arm side. And in part, it really didn't work, quite frankly. I mean, they mixed it up a little bit. It wasn't exclusive. It's not as if that's the only thing you saw throughout the course of the day. But they'll have a hard call to make here. As you mentioned, Kyler is a little closer to a joystick. He's more Lamar than I think Deshaun is. But the broken play element doesn't come into play if you don't send a lot of guys after him. And in that environment, you're basically just saying, hey, we don't want you to leave. Stay back there and go ahead and throw. Deshaun did that and absolutely torched them. So they're going to have a hard decision to make as New England about front decisions, essentially. What's the plan to go after this guy? Do you believe in sort of the injury report that it's limiting enough to where it would affect him? Or is it just straight up Lamar Jackson kind of approach?